Hi there, my name's Deborah Landry and I am going to show you today how to use some stencils and do some use a Dremel. So I have a Ryobi right here, and I have a carbide tip, carving tip in here for engraving. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this to engrave these birds. We're going to do two birds, and then there's going to be a quote. What I'm going to do is, together is our favorite place to be. It's going to be a quote on here, and then two birds, and then I'm going to also put a heart on here. So this right here is a piece of oak that we had a tree come down on our property, and I took the tree to a mill, and then they created planks of wood for me, and so I have a whole stack of wood, and this is just one of the pieces. I've already sanded it. I planed it and sanded it so it's nice and smooth. And so let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just draw out this design here with the stencil. And I don't have to be totally exact here. I just want to quickly just draw it out. And so I'm going to router this, or I'm going to Dremel this design out. So, and shoot. Alright, that pen is dried. Alright, I just grabbed another pen, grabbed a couple so that, alright, there we go. This is much better. Okay. So, this is a nice way to use a stencil, especially since what my goal is to mirror the two birds. And so by using a stencil, it will make the job of mirroring much easier. So I'm just doing an outline here, and when I use the Dremel, I'm just going to go and follow the outline. Now the other thing about this is that you see that it's kind of black. I'm using the black Sharpie marker, and this right here, once I have this Dremeled out, then I can actually sand. I'll sand all of the black mark off, so I don't have to worry about it at all. So I'm just gonna put my birds here. I'm bringing it down just a little bit because I want them to be able to see. I want them to be facing each other. My wood is longer on this side, shorter on this side. So I'm just gonna bring this down, and I want to make sure I'm checking the tail here and making sure I had the same distance on the tail. And then I'm going to just keep on. So I'm going to do the same thing and just quickly draw this out and get this drawn here. Now when you use this is actually a Ryobi, but and I'm calling it a Dremel, and a Dremel is actually a name brand of a tool as well. So I have both, but I just got this Ryobi here with the battery, and it's nice because it doesn't. I'm not connected to a wall, whereas if it was electricity, I would have to make sure that my cord, and I'd have to be like really close to a wall. So right now I'm just kind of in the middle of a room, and this is my wood shop here, and so right behind me we have a garage door, which is really nice. I can open up the garage door um, and then just kind of have a nice door open while I'm working. It gives me a lot of light. It feels nice too. In the summertime, I live in Georgia, so in the summertime I can't do that. I can't leave it open. Alright, so this is, I got done with the stencil and I got my two bird shapes down here. Alright, so I'm going to just put a nice big heart right here. Alright, I kind of like that. Okay, make it a little bit fatter here. Okay, and then I'm going to do my lettering down here. So, and let's see here. So together is our favorite place to be. Okay, let's try this. Alright, I think I can do this. Now I need to make sure that I'm giving lots of space in between my letters for the Dremel, because the actual width of the Dremel takes up a lot of space, or it creates a wider letter than what I'm doing here. So I'm actually writing it, but I'm actually putting a lot of distance between the two letters, because the letters will actually be larger once you get done. So, okay, so together is our, okay, is our, okay, and then let's see here, favorite. Oops. Alright, so I have a habit of changing my fonts as I'm writing, so that's why I kind of, so I almost did a different A over here, so anyways, that's why I have to constantly look at it and make sure that I'm happy with it. Alright, so I'm kind of looking at it, and my favorite is a little tight. So, okay. Well, anyway, we'll make it work. So, favorite place. Okay. Alright. So, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put on, I have these pair of gloves here. And these gloves I got, they're very nice and cushy, and they kind of look very alien-like, but when you're using tools like this, there's a lot of vibration, and you just want to make sure that you want to take care of yourself and make sure that you're not injuring yourself while you're doing your artwork. And so these will absorb some of the vibration so that you're not getting carpal tunnel. The other thing I need is my hearing protection. So I got my hearing protection and this here, and I'm going to go ahead and get started. At a certain point, I'll probably shut down the video and or maybe just change it so that we can speed it up. Anyway, so we'll see how that works out. But this is it. So let me get started, and I hope you enjoy this. All right. Alright, so the tip the tip is getting hot. So I'm going to change out the tip, change out the cutting blade here because it's getting a little too hot. So you just kind of bear with me for a few minutes. The other tip. Alright, there's a little button right here that I'm holding on to, and that allows you to lock that on there. And so it goes pretty fast. It wasn't that hot, but I could see that it was burning my my bird as I was working on it. All right, so let's keep on going. Okay, so as you can see right here, I'm kind of brushing this off a little bit, and I'm working on this area here. And anyway, so this tip right here, I think both of these tips are kind of old, so I think I'm gonna have to run to the store and go get myself another cutting blade and another engraver. So I'm going to put this on hold, and we will be right back. So thank you. I'll talk to you real soon. All right. Okay, so I found another bit, and I didn't have to go to the store, but I looked around and I found another one. And so I did a few more. I finished up this bird here, and I finished up the heart, and I'm going to do this bird, and then I'm going to do the lettering. And I'll let me show you some more on this bird, and then I will give it a pause, and I will keep on going. All right. So as I'm working on this, one of the challenges is, let me take these off. So one of the challenges that you are going to face doing a plank board like this is that for each one of the colors that you see this, the color that's coming through here. So each one of these is kind of like a different grain of wood, and so this right here is a little bit harder, and then this right here is a little bit softer, and that's just the way that the grain, when you're looking at a log, the inside, the core of the tree is the hardest wood. It's called heart. So it is the hardest part of the wood of the tree, and then the tree, the wood actually gets softer as you're looking towards the outside of the tree. And anyway, so you're going to notice that a lot of this is going to be challenging, and where you're working with the wood and it's doing one thing in one place, but then as you move, it's going to be doing another thing. It's going to go in easier or harder, and it's going to make you have to really adjust the way that you're moving around so that you're not just gouging your wood. So you do have to be kind of careful with that. Alright, so I'm going to put you on hold, and we're going to continue with this project, and so that you don't have to watch every tiny little detail, and we'll keep on going. Thank you. I will talk to you and see you in a few. Alright, everybody. Alright, so we just took a little break to regroup and get another bit. And also it's a good idea just to take some breaks because of your hands. And I went ahead and I fixed this right here. It looks like a mess, but we're gonna go for it. And what I did was I fixed I didn't like how close I had written the favorite, so I just kind of expanded that and then put place to be. And so I'm going to finish up the birds and then do the lettering, and then you're going to see the next step after that would be sanding. So let me get my hearing protection. Alright. Oh. Here we go. Sorry about that. Alright. Let's get going. Let's have some fun. Alright. I can see that this is moving, so I'm gonna, I need to tighten this real quick. Alright, we got it tight again. I could see that this shaft, it was loosening, so the vibration makes it loose. So every once in a while you're going to have to tighten it. And I could see that this was getting longer, so I knew that it was coming out. Alright, well, while we're stopped, let me go ahead and show you where we are in the project. Alright, so right now you can see that there's like a little shagginess about the line drawings, and we will, once I get this all carved out, we'll take a sander to that, and then that'll take care of all the burrs, all this wood burrs here, and then what I do is I paint in the line with black paint. I have a black paint that when you put it's an oil-based paint, and when you put a dryer to it, when you heat gun it, it dries instantly. So I like that because then I can move on to my next project. I truly don't like to wait for paint to dry. So, alright, so let's finish this up real quick, and then I'll show you the sanding, and we'll be in business. Okay, so I got that. It's going to be hard to see what I just finished right here, down here, and I'm going to sand that real quick. and you may notice that I was going pretty fast. It's not the reason I can go so fast is not just practice. It's actually that I don't really care about the little tiny mistakes. So I just kind of call them character. So if I go off the line a little bit, I'm not over obsessing over it, and it just really doesn't bother me. So that I don't. So that I can just move along. All right, let me grab my sander. All right, so you would think I'm like an advertiser for Ryobi, but I'm not. I just really like all the battery operated tools in there. I used to have all different like Craftsman and different things like that, and they're heavy, and the Ryobi in general are pretty lightweight. They're battery operated, and they're pretty sturdy, and I don't need any extra weight, and I just find them easy to use. So so this is an orbital sander, and I'm going to put back my hearing protection. I try to wear my hearing protection as much as possible. All right, so okay, I'm gonna put you on pause so that I can go over this. It's gonna take me a little while to get the black marks off of here. So let me put you on pause, and then I'll be right back. All right, everybody. All right. So what I did was I was sanding, and as I was working on getting all of the Sharpie marker off, I figured, well, let me go ahead and put the paint in, and I'll sand it all off that way. So I put the paint in. So now I have, and I have sanded. I put the paint in, the black lines, and it's an oil-based paint. It's actually a fine art paint. What is it called? It's called Genesis, and it's it was just given to me by a friend. So, but what I'm finding is that it's really nice to put the oil-based paint into the grooves, and then the oil-based paint, the oil paint, it's made for oil painting, like actual beautiful paintings, but I'm using it as a craft paint. And then what you do is you put it in the black line, or put the line on, or put the paint on, and then you actually use a heat gun. And so this right here is a heat gun, and then you heat it, and then as soon as you heat it, the paint is instantly dried, and it's wet. It's wet. It remains wet until you actually heat gun it, and that's how it dries. All right. So I'm looking at my image, my painting, this artwork right now, and I'm a little like the birds aren't as the birds need some help. So I'm gonna go back to the Dremel, and I'm actually gonna try to redefine their wings. I had used this stencil here, and this is the stencil, and the image with the if I had solid colors in here, maybe it would look like a wing, but right now it's very confusing. So I'm actually going to go in here, and I'm gonna fix this up and make it look more wing-like here. And I also noticed that the way that I drew the beak here, this bird to me looks feminine, and then this bird here looks masculine, and it has everything to do with the way that I put in the beak. So that's very interesting. Okay, so let me put my gloves on and my hearing protection again, and let's do a little bit more dribbling, and let me get these lines in. Then I will do some more black paint and dry it, and then the last thing is that I oil the whole board. But let me do this real quick and see if I can fix this. Okay, so I just did a couple little more lines to get that fixed up. Now I'm gonna go so I got the burrs off. Alright, now I'm gonna go in here with my paint. And the paint comes in this like little containers. If you were actually doing oil painting, you would get, this is just the sample box, but you would get much bigger containers to do oil painting. Alright, so you probably could do this process if you had other type of paint, and then just use a heat gun with it as well. But actually, after I use up this little container, it's lasting a while. But I think I really like this little method, and I think that once I use up this paint, I actually will investigate trying to see where and how I could get another container of it. I have other colors. The kit came with other colors, but this is black is for the projects like this. I mean, the black is really what I really want to use. So I'm taking the paint again, and I'm just filling in the lines, getting them all filled in again. All the new lines. So this again, I'm just kind of I'm not being exact. I mean, I'm getting it into the grooves, scrubbing it in there, but there is you know, it is going to the sides and on the board itself. So, and I don't really care about that because I am going to heat this, and then I'm going to sand it off and clean it. It'll all be cleaned off again. So it will not be a big issue. So I'm just getting this down. Let me pull this out of the way so you can possibly see what it is that I'm doing. Okay. And get this here. All the new lines are going to have new black paint in them. And the lines that you see right here, they look kind of, it doesn't look nice and bright, and that's only because there's dust inside the lines. And so what I have to do is I'm going to have to clean out the line, because when I sanded it, the line got dirty, but the black is still in there, and so all I have to do is clean out the line. Now this is kind of a process where it happens a lot, where you know, I'm drawing with the Dremel, and then sanding, and then drawing and sanding, because a lot of times there's a line that actually gets sanded off, and maybe or like this case, I just needed more lines. It just wasn't looking like a wing. And so let's see here. All right, so I think I'm happy with that. So I'm going to put this over. All right, and then I'll show you the heat gun process. Here's the heat gun process. So I'm just moving it around, and the paint actually goes from shiny to dull, and that's when I know that that's when I know that I've heat setted it. Now, if you keep on, you got to be careful, because this heat gun has the ability to actually burn and start a fire. So this is a really hot heat gun. This heat gun is actually designed for if you were to try to remove paint off of something. This is what people use to remove the paint, and the paint would start bubbling up, and then that's how you would be able to scrape off the paint. But with this method here, you just want to be careful that you don't actually, because we're heat gunning wood like this, we don't want to burn it. So you just have to be careful. The other thing I noticed is that it will, like, sparks might come up if you didn't sand all of the little burrs off. Then the little burrs will catch fire, and so it says little tiny catch fire. But again, you just want to be careful not to cause yourself any problems. And right over there in the corner, I do have a fire extinguisher for safety if I need it. And you can tell, like, way back here in the back, I have my garage door open, so that I have lots of ventilation. You just, again, you want to be careful. Alright, it got kind of thick over here. It's kind of thick, but I think we're dry. Let me do it a couple more times. Okay. Ways for safe. Okay. Alright, so I want to make sure that when I put this down, I'm putting it somewhere where that tip right there is out of the way, because that is very, very hot. And it will not only give you a burn, it will give you a 3rd degree burn. So you just want to be careful. much more painful for that burn than a hot glue gun. If you've ever hot glue gunned yourself, that's very painful as well. All right, so now I'm going to sand these birds. Whoops, I forgot my special vibration gloves. All right. Okay, so, all right. All right, so now I'm gonna just buff this and get all the sawdust out of the lines. Turn it over a little bit. Let's see here. Got a brush right here. All right. So you can see the sawdust has been cleaned out, and the line is getting darker because it's just dirty in there. Okay, now, the final part of this little project, easy. Let me sand this little part right here. Like a little smudge of black paint that was had smeared somewhere. So somewhere I didn't heat set paint some of the paint. All right. So the last part of this project is I use a tung oil. And it just brings out the beauty of the wood. And just need gloves. So I just need some gloves. And I have a little rag. And after I put this on here, then the whole project will Alright, I'm going to turn you off for a bit. So anyway, I turned you off because I had to fight with the bottle here, and it wasn't worth you watching me. I didn't want to be a story. Look how funny this girl is trying to get this open. So this is tung oil, and it just gives a protective coating for the wood, but then it also, all it does, it's clear, and all it does is allow you to see the beauty of the wood. And so this is in my wood projects here, this is how I finish it. And I just kind of, you can do this, and then you actually can hand rub wax on it. But I'll just put a coat of this on there on a wood project, and then let it sit overnight. And I'll put enough, mosquitoes are coming out, I'll put enough on just until, when I see sometimes the wood, it'll soak in really fast. So I'll put in enough just so that it stops kind of soaking in. So like right now, I can see over here it's kind of a little bit dull, so I'm going to just give it another coat. And the more you put on, the more it'll shine up. But you want to put it on in light layers, just so that you know you can stop exactly where you want to stop, and don't add too much. I make sure that all my this is the cleaning fluid too, to make sure that you've got all of your letters, all of your drawing and your letters all cleaned out and looking the way you want to. And so you're going to do the edges, and you're going to let this dry. And I actually, there's a good chance that I will later on, once this is dry, there's a good chance that I'll add some color to this. Maybe I'll put a red dot, a red stain in here, and then maybe make these like bluebirds. That would be giving the birds a little bit of color could add to the beauty as well. All right, so I really hope that you enjoyed learning about this project. We used lots of tools. We used the disc sander and heat gun, and we used the Ryobi. I'm getting tired. Dremel and stencil. Remember, we used this stencil here from Stencil Me Pretty, and so we use tung oil. And I hope you enjoy the project and come back and see me again. All right, have a great day.